There we go. That's better. I found out that the mic was muted. My bad. So, everyone, we are looking at the sun, obviously. And I've gone ahead and I threw the extra solar filter on so the sun looks extra crunchy today. So and let's see, the other thing that I need to do is up the bit rate. Let's do that. See if that fixes things. Sizzling, and no sizzling yet. So this isn't exactly the best solar image I'm capable of doing, but it is the best that I can do with the amount of practice that I've had. Volume was down. Okay. But yeah, we got the sun, and we can look at some prominences too if I just scale the brightness way up. Like way up. A little too up. My controls are a little laggy. All right, we've got some solar prominences leaping up off the surface of the sun today. While that's going on, I still need to eat lunch. So I'm gonna do that real quick. So if you guys hear any background noise, it's just me heating up something from last night's dinner, the leftovers from last night's dinner. Punky, how's your day going so far today? I see that you're in the chat. Oh, Max. My dog has to let everyone know that he's here and not to worry. He'll protect us from whatever imaginary threats exist. We got a couple more viewers in since we've been looking at the solar prominences. We'll turn this down. You can see some sunspot activity. You know, what happens if I click auto exposure? That's not too bad. Maverick's asleep, probably in the bedroom. So I live stream from my kitchen, so I can actually like peek outside the window and look at the telescope. Kind of keep an eye on it. Sun's drifting a little bit. I'm gonna try and center that up a little bit and see if I remember. It's one click up, correct? Might have been 5 is probably too much, so we'll do 1, and then we'll do 2 clicks down. That's looking better. How's that looking, everybody? I think that sun's looking pretty good. Maverick did come out here. He probably heard me cooking, wanting to know if he's going to get into this. Stopped drinking last night. Oh, God. Did you have an episode like I did back in March when I got blackout drunk? Oh, did you guys see that? Did you see that eagle or whatever it was? Flew right across the sun. I wish I was recording video. I mean, I'm gonna probably have to grab a screenshot off of YouTube later, but oh wow, that was cool. What are the odds of that ever happening again? Yeah, so that happened about 8 minutes in to the live stream. So we'll have to go back and watch it again. Punky, what I'll try to do is, I'll see if I can't download this video later, after the fact, and maybe grab a screenshot of that eagle, or whatever it was. Hawk, pigeon. All I know is that damn bird was about the size of the sun. Hey, Mark R., what's going on? Hey, Maximus, you're not getting any of these peppers. Okay, cool, Akira. Thank you for letting me know that you did see the bird fly across. So Punky just blinked, that's all. Let's see, we're going to zoom in. We're going to take a look at some sunspots up close. Looks like we might be a bit out of focus, too. So here we got a pair of sunspots. All right, I'll hit you outside, Max. Go on, make some borks. Go do your borks. All right, Punky, good luck at the doctor. I'm trying to get the focus just right. I mean, it's looking pretty good. That should work. Let's see what other sunspots we got. One right here, Sunspot group. Did we freeze? Yeah. There's a sunspot. That's a big one. I don't know if I can get that in focus. I'll try. It's the wrong direction. That might be about the best focus we can do on this sunspot. Being that it's on the edge and I'm using my 2 solar filters, it does make it a little fuzzy on one half of the sun, and the other half of the sun is really good. And so up here at the top, that's kind of where we've been looking. And then the bottom area, that might actually be a little bit more in focus. So we're going to go down there. Yes, Max, I'll let you in just a second. Come on, boo-boo. Got a couple of neat little filaments hanging out over here. Where'd I go? Where'd I go? What the hell is the black inside of a sunspot? Dude, that is a great question. And if you'll give me just a few minutes, I'm in the middle of my lunch break and I'm trying to eat while I'm doing this. But the black inside of a sunspot is just, it's dim light. So my camera, you can think of it as an intensity detector. It detects how intense the light is. So the blackness of space, there's no intensity there. The bright white parts of the sun, that's the super high intensity stuff. And then everything in between is a shade between white and black on the grayscale. All right? These sunspots are so low intensity that by comparison to the rest of the sun, they appear to be no intensity at all. And that's because they are cooler regions of the sun. The surface of the sun has an average temperature of about 6,500 degrees, I think, Kelvin. It's around 10,000 degrees Fahrenheit, I think. Anyway, and those are numbers off of the top of my memory. You can fact check me in Google if you want, throw it in the comments. So think of a neon light, or even a plasma like a fire. The hotter it is, the more intense the glow of the light. And the sun's surface is effectively glowing in a similar way that a neon light does, with the difference being there is a bunch of heat energy from the core exciting the gases on the sun to cause them to glow. And in a neon light, it's electricity moving through the gases that excite them and make them glow. And then a fire, there's a chemical reaction that's doing it. So really, the glow of the sun's surface and the glow of a fire and the glow of a neon light, regardless of the energy source, is really just energy exciting gas making it glow. So that's what a plasma is. And sunspots, they do glow, but they glow much less intense because they are several thousand degrees cooler than the surrounding region of the sun. So if the average surface temperature of the sun is, say, 10,000 degrees Fahrenheit, a sunspot might be 7,000 or 6,500 or even 5,000 degrees Fahrenheit. Half the temperature, a lot less energy, a lot less glowy. By comparison, it looks dark, but it's just plasma. Now, what causes it to cool down? The mechanism is magnetic field lines. The surface of the sun has magnetic field lines just like the Earth does, coming out of it and going back in. And sometimes these magnetic field lines get stuck in an area. And because plasma is charged gas and magnetic field lines can conduct charged material, then sometimes what happens when these magnetic field lines get stuck on the surface of the sun is they trap this gas on the surface in place, and it radiates all of its heat, and it just basically cools down relative to the rest of the sun's surface. The rest of the sun's surface is continuously recycling the cold material back down in a process called convection. Think of a lava lamp. The lava or the wax or whatever it is on the inside, when it gets hot from the light bulb, it shoots to the top of the lava lamp, it kind of cools off a little bit, and it sinks back down to the interior, and the cycle repeats. That happens on the sun's surface all the time. But sometimes these magnetic field lines will trap plasma in place, and it just keeps cooling off and cooling off and cooling off, and the intensity of that glow goes away. When the magnetic field breaks down, that gas can then sink into the interior of the sun, warm back up, and continue the convection process. Also, if those magnetic field lines snap, you'll get a solar flare, which is why solar flares happen near sunspots. So you've got this little sunspot here in the middle, you've got this little arc of plasma next to it, and then there's this really bright region right here. This would be an area that, and I'm not a solar physicist, but knowing kind of what happens, I would say maybe, just maybe, there could be a solar flare that happens here because you've got this arc of plasma, which is following magnetic field line. You've got a sunspot next to it, which means there's trapped magnetism. And then you've got this pinch point where all of those energies are compressing and focusing a lot of magnetic energy and heat energy into a tight ball of plasma. If any of this breaks down, that tight ball of plasma could have enough energy just in the heat alone to escape the sun, and that would become a solar flare and possibly a mass ejection. Here's a pair of, and you can kind of see some of the swirls around these sunspots. So those would be the magnetic field lines, like a bar magnet. So there we go. I'm gonna heat up another hot dog for lunch. So I'll be right back. Maximus, I see you just hanging out in the kitchen, hoping I drop some hot dogs. So Lambrianos, did that kind of explain things a little bit better for you? Does it make sense? You know, we're gonna zoom all the way out. We're gonna look at some solar prominences now. Dude, the sun is an amazing machine. I zoomed the wrong direction because of lag. And I need to move the sun. So I think we agreed it is 2 clicks up. Maybe I needed a third. And then let's try 1 click to the right. 2 clicks to the right. Click down. Wrong direction. 1, 2. One, two. One, two. It's looking okay. We'll leave it there for now. And then take it off of auto exposure compensation. And drag the intensity slider until we start getting some of that solar prominence activity around the edge of the sun, like that. Might be a little too intense. There. We'll leave it there. Kind of wish I had some music. I need to get some music on playlist. Like, I got a playlist of Deep Sky Dude's music he gave to me to use in live streams. But I need to figure out how to include that over a YouTube live stream like this. Because the last time I played his music over a live stream, I was using an external speaker, but there's a way I can do it where I capture the audio from like Spotify directly, and I created a Spotify playlist of all of his music. And it's so cool seeing all of these prominences just dancing above the sun's surface like that. Might be a little too dark. Yeah, so my telescope uses two pressure-tuned hydrogen alpha filters. Yesterday's live stream was just a single hydrogen alpha filter. When I do my afternoon live stream, I might just keep it single filter. You all right, bud? Do you need to drink some water? I think if you search for Lunt DS2 100 millimeter telescope, that's the telescope that I use. You can check that out on the Lunt website. One of these evenings, I'll do a live stream next to the telescope so you guys can actually see. You guys can see the telescope as I'm using it. But my lunch break's about up, so I'm gonna have to get back to work, but I will be back at it in about 3 or 4 hours. And I will just catch you guys on the next one. Again, I'm gonna use just a single hydrogen filter. Because until I get better at using a single one, I don't think I'm quite ready to start using two of them, because it does using two of them makes focusing the sun really hard to do. And it gives me a lot more detail when it works, but I have to make it work first. And I got to get good at using one before I can start adding the second one on. So I just wanted to see, based on yesterday's success with a single filter, if I actually was ready to jump to a second filter. And I don't think I am. So we will just revisit using multiple filters another day. The difference between using one or two filters is how tightly I constrict the amount of light coming off of the sun. Because it's like a deep sky astrophotography hydrogen alpha filter is measured in nanometers. Like 3 nanometers are really good, 5 nanometers are pretty good, 7 nanometers are all right, 9 nanometers are better than nothing. Well, the filters that I'm using aren't measured in nanometers. They're measured in angstroms, which is like 1,000 times more restrictive than a nanometer. So when I use one solar filter, one hydrogen alpha solar filter, I get a really good, clear image. But if I use two, I can really tune in. I can literally tune to different depths of the sun's surface. Because at different temperatures, hydrogen light, the HA line, actually shifts a little bit. It'll either redshift or blue shift, I forget which one it is. And so based on having two hydrogen alpha solar filters, I can literally tune that HA line to a specific depth. And so we might be looking at just the surface here, but if I get really good at using that hydrogen alpha filter, the first one, and then I start adding the second one, we can, and I've only done this once before, I was able to get some absolutely insane detail on the surface of the sun. So one of my best solar images that I've ever captured was like the second time I ever used my telescope, and I just got stupid lucky that it worked out. So I want to try to recreate that every single time I use it. So that's why I use two solar filters. I just got to get back to practicing and make it really, really nice. And then I also have to polar align my telescope because it's shifted a couple of times over the last week, and the polar alignment's off. That's why the sun drifts. But by next week, when I'm doing these solar live streams, we shouldn't have any shifting at all. Once I put the sun in the center of the frame, it'll stay there the whole time. I won't have to keep going back to this program and adjusting the sun. Speaking of which, I should probably park the telescope and then disconnect all of the equipment from this application by just quitting. So that'll do it, everyone. I will see you all in the next live stream.